This is Tom Salemi at OIS TV. We're here at OIS at ASCRS, and I'm happy to be joined by Joe Boorady, CEO and President of TearScience. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
You made a great presentation this morning. I got to watch it on the monitors from the outside because the room's kind of packed, but
Yeah.
You've done a lot of changes at TearScience, and it's in a very competitive space. When did you join TearScience, and sort of what have you installed since you've come aboard?
Yeah, so I joined TearScience back in February of 2015, and my goal was really to try to pivot the business model. We already had a very commercially viable technology. We already had a scientifically proven technology, but we needed to pivot the business model to make it a little bit more accessible for the mass market. And the goal was really to take it from a treatment device that was geared a little bit more towards severe dry eye into the earlier stages, because meibomian gland dysfunction is a chronic and progressive disease, and we wanted to make sure that doctors had the ability to see it and treat it very early on in the stage.
Mm-hmm. Was it going largely undiagnosed before?
It is. Very often, yeah. So very often meibomian gland dysfunction is not properly diagnosed or treated, mainly because the diagnosis of it, before we developed some of this new meibography technology where you can actually take like an MRI of the meibomian glands, it was really hard to see gland loss. And not a lot of doctors were checking for the function of the glands. They weren't looking closely enough at the meibomian glands, making sure that they're secreting the oils that they should be. Mm-hmm. And so we developed devices to help look for that oil secretion, as well as examine those meibomian glands. And so we made the diagnosis of the disease easier for physicians to detect. And then our treatment, the LipiFlow, is really what's revolutionary. We use a back surface heat technology using disposable activators in order to unblock the glands. Mm-hmm. And because meibomian gland dysfunction is a blockage of a gland, it has to be mechanically removed. Drugs or pharmaceutical agents really won't help unclog the glands. And the options are really mechanical expression, where the doctor squeezes each meibomian gland and tries to get the blockage out, which is kind of painful for patients. And as you can imagine, the results will vary depending on how good the doctor is at doing that. Mm-hmm. And it's very time consuming. It takes up a lot of chair time. Whereas our device in 12 minutes in a single treatment has been clinically shown to increase the lipid production by threefold and reduce patient symptoms by 50%, and it lasts 12 months.
Wow. Or
more. So we did a duration study showing it lasts at least 12 months. And so it's very powerful. It's a single treatment in the office, safe and effective. And it's great for ophthalmology and optometry, both.
That's great data. How have you worked to make it more accessible and to get the technology out there?
Yeah, well, the business model when the company launched the technology, because it was new and innovative, they really launched it at a very high end. So the capital equipment was very expensive. There was a click fee when you used it, and the disposables were very expensive. And when I came in, we eliminated the click fees. We reduced the capital price to the doctor by 40% or more. And we also lowered the disposables by 50%. And so all of that has made the business model more accessible. And then here we announced that we are launching a brand new product called the LipiScan. And the LipiScan is another diagnostic tool that's even more affordable. And it does one of the three tests that are in the LipiView 2. It does the meibography test, but it's very quick and easy. It takes about 10 seconds per eye to do the test.
Wow.
So really from a workflow standpoint, in under 30 seconds, you can see the meibomian glands, and the doctor can use that to assess whether a patient could have meibomian gland dysfunction or not.
Now, do you sell mostly to ophthalmologists or to optometrists as well?
In the early days of the company, because of the price point and the positioning, it was really more to ophthalmology. But last year in 2015, about 40% of our sales were to optometrists, and that we see growing even more in 2016. And so the tides are shifting a little bit. We see that balancing off at maybe as much as 50-50 this year.
Do you see LipiScan being almost just part of a routine eye exam?
Great question. Absolutely. This is a great screening device because it's so fast and easy. You can get a lot of information about the ocular health with by quickly just examining those meibomian glands. So doing that meibography test is a great screening technique in order to assess whether a patient is at risk for or has MGD. And a lot of people don't realize MGD is found to be in 86% of all dry eye patients. And so MGD is a major factor that really oftentimes goes unaddressed. And so you can't really effectively treat dry eye unless you treat meibomian gland dysfunction because
80
it's so 86%.
So, I mean, is that the cause of dry eye? I mean, there's 14% who, don't have it, but is it safe to say that?
Yeah, there's some people who have, lacrimal gland issues
True.
or corneal issues that cause mucin deficiencies and things like that. But MGD is still, and there's a lot of people that have maybe a combined factor.
Yeah.
But at least 86% of the time, MGD is involved in the dry eye. And so that's why we're really so passionate about that.
That's great. Is the different approach producing results? Are you seeing changes on the business side?
It is, yeah. So we've more than doubled our market penetration since adjusting the business model, and doctors have treated more than twice the number of patients each month after we adjusted the cost of the disposable. And so we are seeing the technology being more accessible both for doctors and for patients.
That's terrific. And finally, you're well capitalized, right? You raised financing recently?
We did, yeah. So we just finished in the end of March. We raised our Series D financing, and that will take us to EBITDA positive. So this should be the last time we ever need money as a company, and that's a good place to be.
Terrific. Thanks for taking some time today.
Thank you for talking to me. Appreciate that.